So what's the one thing standing between you and a potentially bad batch of medicine? And listen, we're not talking about your everyday aspirin here. We're talking about the most advanced, most powerful, life-saving treatments on the entire planet. Let's pull back the curtain and look inside the world of the FDA inspectors, our unseen guardians.
Yeah, these are the absolute heavy hitters of modern medicine. We're talking about treatments that can literally stop a pandemic in its tracks, correct a genetic defect you were born with, or even neutralize a deadly toxin. They're just incredible leaps forward for all of us.
To be specific, what we're really digging into here are biological drugs. So think vaccines, those revolutionary new gene therapies, antitoxins, products that come from human blood. This isn't just a matter of mixing a few chemicals in a lab. These are incredibly complex products, and they often come from living organisms.
And that, right there, leads to the billion-dollar question. I mean, with something this complex and this critically important, how can we be absolutely sure that every single vial is made safely, correctly, and effectively every single time?
Well, the answer lies with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and what you can basically call their inspection playbook. They've got a specialized team and a really rigorous strategy, all designed to make sure these biological drugs are safe.
And even within the FDA, this massive job falls to a very specific group, the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, or CBER for short. These are the experts, the specialists who oversee this unique and absolutely vital class of medicines.
Now, they don't just show up and, look around. Their inspections are grounded in a super detailed set of rules known as cGMP, which stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practice. You can think of this as the official rulebook, the absolute gold standard for any company that makes drugs.
And what's really crucial to get here is their strategy. It's not some simple checklist. No, the FDA uses a pretty sophisticated systems-based risk management approach. And what that really means is they look at the entire manufacturing process as a whole, so they can find and manage risks before they ever become a real problem. This systems-based idea is everything. It's truly the core of how they structure an entire inspection. So let's break down exactly what that means.
See, an FDA inspector isn't there to just test the final product. I mean, think about it. That's way too late. If you find a problem in a finished vial of medicine, it means that a whole batch, and who knows how many others, could be bad.
So instead, they go upstream. They audit the interconnected systems that a company uses to actually produce the medicine. The logic is pretty simple, right? If the systems are sound, the final product is going to be sound. It's all about building quality into the process right from the very start.
And this just lays it all out perfectly. The inspection is broken down into these major systems. The quality system, that's kind of like the brain of the whole operation. The facilities and equipment system covers everything from the building's air filters to the machines themselves. Then you've got the materials system, which tracks every single ingredient. The production system is the step-by-step manufacturing process. Of course, the packaging and labeling system is crucial for preventing mix-ups. And finally, the lab control system makes sure all the testing is done correctly. Every single one is a critical link in a very important chain.
And here's the really cool part. For every single one of those systems, they check 3 critical things. First, are there clear written instructions? They call them SOPs for everything. Second, are the employees actually trained properly on how to follow those instructions? And third, is there documentation? Are there records to prove the procedures were followed correctly? SOPs, training, and records. It's their universal test to check the health of any system.
But the FDA has to be efficient. They can't just give every single facility the same deep dive inspection every single time. So they use a risk-based approach that breaks down into 2 different levels of inspection.
Okay, so a level 1 inspection, that's the full, comprehensive, deep dive. Inspectors look at the mandatory quality system plus at least 3 other key systems. This is what they use for brand new facilities or for companies that have had problems in the past. Then there's the level 2 inspection. It's more of a focused checkup, and it's for companies with a good track record. They cover the quality system plus 1 other system. It's just a really smart way to focus their resources where they're needed most.
And this isn't just some abstract idea, by the way. This is a highly structured, documented process. You can even see here, every type of inspection has its own specific official code. It's all managed from start to finish.
All right, so what happens when an inspector actually finds something? When a facility isn't living up to these really high standards? Well, the playbook has a very important section for that too.
This quote right here from the FDA's own manual, it really says it all. The whole process is built on rock-solid evidence. Every observation an inspector makes has to be documented like crazy because it could end up being the basis for serious legal action. This is no joke.
The benchmark for any facility is whether or not it's operating in what they call a state of control. Basically, that means its systems are strong enough to make sure the final product is always safe and pure. If the evidence shows a system has failed and that facility is not in a state of control, well, that's when the FDA can use its enforcement tools.
And those actions get more and more serious depending on the problem. A warning letter puts a company on official notice. But then things can escalate to license suspension if there's a real danger to public health, seizure to get bad products off the market, or even an injunction, which is a court order to shut down production completely. So when you step back and look at the whole thing, from the systems-based audit to the different inspection levels and the enforcement actions, it's this incredible multi-layered defense system. And it's all designed with just one goal in mind: to stop problems at the source and to safeguard all of us from unsafe medicines.
This system is the result of decades and decades of experience and learning. It's tough, it's robust. But as we're now entering this new era of personalized medicine, drugs designed by AI, and therapies we can't even really imagine today, the big question is, how would this playbook evolve to protect us from the risks of tomorrow?